Hello and welcome back everyone to another episode of Victor Writes, Victor Reads. That's what the jellyfish's sign says. All right. How sobriety gave me a chance to be a writer, reflecting on 10 years without drinking. So this is going to be a serious story, but I promise we might have a little bit of fun along the way. It is a self-reflection. It is a true story. It is about my relationship with alcohol and how I've struggled with alcohol in the past, and how I've overcome that and moved on with some things that were really awesome. So let's do it. There's a bald guy, not me. AI generated bald guy. That could be me. Before sobriety, every night ended with me going to bed drunk and with the same promises to myself. Tomorrow I'll write. Tomorrow I'll start that novel. Tomorrow I'll finally become the person I know I can be. I used to fall asleep with a notebook by my bed, convinced that I'd magically wake up one day and write. I spent years believing I was only one step from greatness, but every day it was the same crappy story. Instead of picking up a pen, I picked up a bottle. I'd tell myself, just one drink to loosen up, to find that muse. I thought alcohol would be my key to creativity. But the notebook stayed empty. I stayed incapacitated by alcohol. Drinking was my biggest barrier to success. I was trapped in this endless cycle of waiting for the perfect moment that would never arrive. Instead of ideas, there were hangovers. Instead of sentences flowing, it was bottles. And the worst part, I knew what was happening. I watched myself destroy my life like it was a bad movie, but I couldn't stop. I feel that was true. Like during some of my worst times, I could be out of body knowing what I was doing was wrong, and then I wouldn't do anything to actually change. The first day of sobriety, a different kind of tomorrow. When I got sober, it wasn't like flipping a switch and suddenly becoming a prolific writer. It was hard, painfully hard. At first, the words didn't flow like I'd hoped. It was a struggle to make it through each day without drinking. I wasn't cured of my creative block. Sobriety stripped me down to my rawest self, and that's a scary place to be. No distractions, no crutches, just me, my thoughts, and my laptop. One Saturday morning, I felt a change. I woke up for no reason at all at 4 a.m., full of creative energy. And I really do remember this day pretty clearly. Went downstairs, was living in a 2-floor house at the time, and sat on the couch in the quiet of the morning and just went to town feeling like all my thoughts were finally coherent. I started to feel hope, a key feeling for anyone who wants to put their writing out into the world. Hope, but not, don't be too proud, but hope, yes. In sobriety, I was no longer numb. While that made writing terrifying at times, it also made it real. My brain wasn't clouded anymore. For the first time in years, I could see through the fog, and what I found there was me, the writer and author version of me. I sent off a pitch to one of the leading publications in my field to write an article on applying psychology to design. A few weeks later, an editor from the publication responded they were interested in my story. I got through writing that piece and found I had many more ideas for similar articles. I kept writing for publications in my industry. UX design and psychology weren't topics I ever thought I'd want to write about, but something clicked. People listened. They respected my voice. Even though it wasn't the subject I dreamed about, it felt good to be putting words out into the world. Writing and publishing on UX design and psychology became commonplace. Within months, I was putting together a book proposal. Not for the great American novel I had imagined. It was on psychology and user experience of all things, but I didn't care. I wanted to prove to myself that I could write a book. I shopped the proposal to every publisher I could find that accepted unagented submissions. I was rejected, again and again. One day, I got an email and it told me the words I'd been waiting to read. A publisher said yes. I celebrated with a huge bottle of cold, sparkling water and a huge bucket of anxiety, but not alcohol. Writing a book felt like a tangible reward for sobriety. This was what I'd wanted to do for years, but had drank until I couldn't form a coherent word. I was living the life I wanted, and though the topic wasn't something I'd ever planned on, I poured everything I had into it. When I finished my book, my passion for writing shifted. I dove deeper into writing about mental health and alcohol abuse issues, and in doing that, I found my voice in the area that I wanted to be contributing more to. At this point in my life, I was writing constantly. Articles, essays, anything I could get my hands on. I felt like my ideas were endless. and I'd often stay up late into the night, banging out a full article without stopping. I apologize to everybody who had to hear the banging out part. 3 years into sobriety, my momentum slowed. Life has a way of humbling you when you least expect it. My wife filed for divorce, and I moved out. I became a 50-50 co-parent to my daughter, who was 3 at the time. Slowly, the words stopped flowing. I went from feeling like I had infinite ideas to staring at blank screens for days on end. There were weeks, even months, where I didn't touch a keyboard. A couple years after my divorce, we went through the pandemic of 2020, and while I stayed away from drinking during this time, my ability to write and reflect was almost completely lost. Writing felt like an impossible task, like something just out of reach. I stopped considering myself a writer. I thought I'd never have another 24-hour time period of clarity. To throw in a third downer, my father was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in 2021 and passed away in summer of 2022. Still no drinking for me and very little writing. For 4 years, I only managed to write one article a year, and only because an editor I was working with insisted on it. I was numb again, not from alcohol this time, but from something darker. The words didn't come out in the right order. My thoughts felt jumbled, like I couldn't string them together. During that period, I moved away from considering myself a writer. I stopped introducing myself that way. I wasn't writing anymore. I was surviving, just getting through the days, trying to make sense of what my life had become. Depression had its hold on me, but I didn't fully understand that at the time. I just felt stuck. All right, are you ready for it? On fire again, reclaiming creativity. In December 2023, everything changed. I was let go by my employer, a blessing in disguise I didn't see coming. That's when I realized that the thing I had been carrying for so long, that heaviness, was depression and burnout. I'd been running on fumes for years, just going through the motions. I took 6 months off work, giving myself the space to heal, to think, to feel again. And that's when the writing fire returned. Suddenly the words were there again. Not just drips, but floods. My thoughts were full and coherent from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. I was writing constantly, sometimes all day. It felt like someone had reignited something in me that I thought I had lost forever. And with that energy, opportunities started coming my way. I started a YouTube channel where I read what I write, something I never would have had the confidence to do before. I was immersing myself in writing again, and this time I promised myself I wouldn't let it slip away. The reason I had a hard time not laughing when I read that last part was just considering myself coherent. I'm not sure I am, but at least my thoughts are in my head. Writing feels like sobriety to me. I fear losing it the way I fear losing my sobriety. The two are intertwined in a way that's hard to explain, but I know this. Staying sober is what keeps the words coming, and as long as I hold on to that, I'll never go back. Getting sober opened doors for me that I never expected. Writing about alcohol abuse and mental health gave me a platform I didn't know I needed. I've been able to give back through my writing, through speaking, through sharing my journey in ways that have connected with people on a deeply personal level. I'm humbled by that. Every day sober feels like a gift, and if I can help someone else find their way out of the darkness, then I'm doing something meaningful with this second chance at life. Sobriety and struggle. Let me be clear, sobriety is hard. There's nothing easy about it. It's a constant daily effort to stay on track, but I'm living proof it's worth it. The other side of the struggle is clarity. It's creativity, it's life in its fullest, most vibrant form. If you're reading this and you're struggling, I want you to know that you can do it. You're stronger than you think. I know it feels impossible right now, but trust me, take the first step. Reach out for help. It's worth it. I've been there, and I'm here to tell you the life waiting for you on the other side of sobriety is more beautiful than you can imagine. So take that step, embrace the struggle. On the other side is everything you've ever wanted, or at least something better than what you have now. And that is the truth. I mean, there's no guarantees that sobriety will bring about a wonderful life or all your dreams coming true. But I do believe if you struggle with alcohol and it's impacting your decisions in your life, then what you'll find when you're sober is better than what you'll ever find continuing to drink. There's a lot of resources out there. Use Google to find anything. Send me a message. Don't leave a comment, but send me a direct message if you want. Email me at vwvrmanagement@gmail.com. But also follow me on at Victor Yocco and Medium. Feel free to subscribe to this channel. Oh, I think the heavy topic kind of has me distracted. So I am going to say thank you for so much for listening to this one and have a great day. I appreciate it. Bye.